Hello, this is a demonstration on how to prepare sign-up documents. I have here file number CMBI 1960. This is a Nova Scotia deal. Primarily, it's the same kind of idea. First thing we do is we go to lender response. And there's two ways to receive a response. Sometimes the lender will send the commitment electronically through Expert. At other times, they'll email, or in this case, Manulife sent the commitment through their broker portal. Regardless, if you have to add a response, you can use this, add a manual response here. You can select the approval from here. Approved, press OK. And then what you can do is put in the details of the approval that you received. Okay, so after you do that, you just press Save Changes here on the bottom. And then you will see that on your list here. All right. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to Fees. And you're going to actually put in the fees here. You're going to put in the appraisal cost, estimate paid by borrowers, broker fee if there is a broker fee, legal fees, and the insurance fees will show up here if there were insurance fees on the deal. Other fees like lender fees would go here as well. So all fees required to close the mortgage transaction need to be disclosed to the customers. And that's the fees we put in here. So these fees will show up again in the disclosure to borrower document. So once we've done that, we save these, and now we can go to forms. We have a website page for mortgage closing forms. So when you go to our website and you'll see here mortgage closing forms, it'll take you to this website. And these are the forms that you are required to have when you sign up the customers. You're required to complete certain forms. So you can use this file identification and closure form. This will provide for you all the forms you need to print out and have the customer sign and initial. So you would put the customer's name here, the mortgage amount, what type of mortgage it was, of ranking, first, second, or third, high ratio, conventional. So you quickly do that. Also, for our auditing purposes, we don't require photocopy of identification. As a brokerage, we don't. In the event, you're meeting with a customer at their home or at a remote location, you don't always have access to a photocopier. So in that instance, what you do is you would just copy down the customer's identification, for instance, license number or passport number, and you certify that you verified the customer's identification. So this is the old life insurance way to do it, is that you actually use this form to certify here at the bottom. Okay, if you didn't certify the information yourself, you would just write down the steps you took to validate the customer's identification. Also, you can take a copy if you wish. Okay, so this is either or. Here's the documentation you need for mortgage closing, the checklist. You do need a CMB worksheet. You required that before you even inputted the deal onto Expert. Disclosure to borrower, amortization, budget worksheet, consent, and suitability questionnaires. So all of these forms are available on our mortgage closing forms website, as well as Expert. So this is just an inventory, so you make sure you have all the right forms here. All right, so let's go down to the next things you do. So far what we've done is we've In this case, let's go and show you the commitment. This is a deal approved by Manual Life. You can go to their website, and they don't email the commitments. You have to actually go into the broker portal and print it. So here's the document. Each page of these sign-up documents require initials or signatures on each page. And that is because, sometimes clients forget, or mostly they like to forget whenever there's a complaint with one of our agents. They always say that they never received certain disclosures or they weren't aware of certain information. And so putting initials on each page, the customer initials on each page, it's very difficult for the customer then to say, well, I initialed it, I saw it, but I didn't know what I was doing. That's, so you can see where we're going with that. Even in real estate, during the transaction, the purchase agreement, you'll notice that every page of that purchase agreement is either signed or initialed by the customer. Okay, so that's a best practice. We encourage that you to do that, and it helps when we're trying to protect you when a customer has a complaint against us and yourself. That's something that helps us during a tribunal or perhaps a customer complaint. All right, so we've got the commitment. It's on my hard drive here. We've got we put in let's go to expert now. We've gone to lender response. Let's accept the approval. So we've accepted. All right, and you need to accept this to ensure that the forms are properly populated. So, and I go to forms. So I've got the fees in there. I've got my commitment. I've got my accepted. So now I go in here and I just, well, actually, let me just go into this here. This is a Nova Scotia deal, but Ontario, you're able to customize the disclosure. So every province has different disclosure. This one here is for Nova Scotia. And when you're filling out a disclosure for Ontario, you will find tips on how to complete that form on our mortgage closings forms. Okay, so you'll go here if you're in Ontario. This is the most complicated one, really, because it gives you the opportunity to really customize this form. So I recommend you open up this tips for completing the disclosure, and you're able to go into the disclosure and actually use this wording. So we're actually recommend when you're filling this one out for Ontario, you'll see here that we actually recommend for you what to put into the particulars and penalties. In the transferability, we recommend this clause and so forth. There's ones for special conditions. Okay, so there's ones for material risks. So if these are missing, or you're filling it out for the first time, it's always good to check with me first to make sure you have the disclosure filled out properly before you get the customer to sign it. The last thing you want to do is, after it closes the mortgage, you submit your paperwork to file closings for payment of your commission, and some of the forms are wrong. So we only pay on completed files and completed documentation, properly completed. So if you're unsure when you're preparing these documents, you can talk to Victor Simone at head office. He'll review the documents before you even go sign up the customer. So that's the Ontario one. Okay, let's go back to this one. Basically, once you've done that, now you're more than halfway there. So we're going to go back to forms here. You're going to pick out what you'd like to print out. MPP form, amortization schedule. So mortgage protection plan, amortization schedule, and all these are available on that file closing and identification form. That'll help you as a cover page when you're submitting your file, as well as just to make sure you've got all the documents. A letter of direction, if there's a broker fee. In this case, there's not a broker fee. And there is going to be, if there's a broker fee, I'd like you to, if you've never completed a transaction with a broker fee, I recommend you speak to head office to make sure that you know all the tips on how to charge the broker fee, how to disclose it, how to do how to show it in your documents, and how to collect it, because you have to collect that broker fee to make sure that that's collected from the advance when the mortgage is advanced. So if the lawyer closing this is not made aware or directed by you by way of letter of direction, then you're going to be stuck. So here's what a letter of direction looks like. Okay, so in this case there was no fee, but this is what it looks like. Usually there's a lawyer's name over here, and if you did charge a broker fee, you would put it in remember I showed you earlier where you input the fees for closing the transaction. If you charged a broker fee, it would show up here. So you would get the customers to sign it, witness it, and this would be sent to the lawyer by email with a copy of the disclosure to borrower. And when you send it by email, you can ask the law firm closing the mortgage to make sure that they can acknowledge that they have to take a broker fee. So the lawyer has to actually, acknowledge that there's going to be a broker fee, and then the broker fee is collected from the advanced, and then the check is mailed to CMB. And our address is on here as well. So this is where all our corporate mailing goes, brokerage information here. Okay. Mortgage protection plan. Sometimes what will happen is the mortgage protection plan, you will have to go to participants, and there's two types of forms to be printed out. So, in the event that you have a mortgage protection plan application, this is how it should look. Okay, I'll just show you here, because sometimes you might not see this form. You'll see another type of form. But this is what a proper mortgage protection plan application waiver looks like. So by law, you have to provide the customer the opportunity to buy mortgage life insurance. If you've ever worked at a bank, you'll know that they're famous for lawsuits where a spouse would show up and say, we thought we had life insurance on our mortgage, and now my husband or wife passed away, and we thought our mortgage would be paid. So it quickly became law quite a while ago. It protects you because we never want to hurt any customers. So we do, they either apply, so they initial here, or they waive it, they initial over here, and then a signature on the bottom as well. Okay, so if they waive it, initials and signatures. There's also some information on the plan itself. It does provide a 60-day money-back guarantee, and there's the information there. So if you don't see a form like this, and it asks you to contact the customer to arrange an appointment for mortgage insurance, you've got the wrong form. So when that happens, you have to go to participants and change the agent to Victor Simone. Some of our contracting, the way it's done is all the contracting is done under our principal broker. So if you see the form is not correct, then you have to change the participants to Victor, print the mortgage protection plan, and then put the agent back to yourself. All right, so now we're ready to go. So I'm going to print some documents here, the application, the Nova Scotia disclosure, or Ontario, Alberta, or BC disclosure there. There's no broker fee, so I don't need the letter of direction. Some provinces like British Columbia and Alberta use the finder's fee disclosure. In Ontario, for us, it's optional. It's not a requirement at this time, but if you are going to receive a finder's fee from the lender, you would edit, put it in here, save it, and then you would go and print out the form. In this case, we don't need it. So the mortgage commitment, I've already saved it. All right, so print documents. Okay, so we've got the application. We've got the consent form. Now, this is not a consent. This is a consent and product risk disclosure. Okay, it's not your regular consent that if you're coming from another brokerage and you're doing documents for the first time, this form does a little bit more than just consent. In fact, if you read it, there's no consent at all. That's why we have the CMB worksheet. Only the CMB worksheet you need signed by the client before you even go to expert or pull a bureau. Okay, so that form we use for suitability and review with the brokerage. That's part of the process. We always have to make sure that a mortgage is suitable for a customer. So that's the worksheet, and that's our review process. Also here, what we do is we, in the event that the customer has a variable rate, or in this case, collateral mortgage with Manulife, they have to fill out what their risk tolerance is. There's some information here about mortgage rate risk. Also, mortgage rate risk for closed mortgages. And here, if you're doing a refinance, what you want to show here is that the customer's existing information and what their new monthly payment will be. That's the bottom line. So you should always be working towards this anyways, but this reinforces to the customer why they're doing the refinance, and that is to free up cash flow. So, it's not, if your existing payment is actually lower than your new payment on a consolidation, it's usually it's very rare. It's only when they're taking cash out that it could be higher. All right, so if there's consolidation plus a lot of new money, then for sure the new payment is going to be higher. So in this case, you just need to get the customer to choose from 1 to 5. You fill out this information, and the customer signs here on the bottom. Okay, so this one here is the disclosure for Nova Scotia. Everyone's is going to be a little bit different. So that's, I've already filled that out. I edit it. That's the amortization. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this on my hard drive, or you can print it. I mean, if you're meeting with the customer personally, then you're definitely going to be you're going to be printing that document. All right. We're almost done. You know, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to complete documents altogether. Now, if you ever need help, you know, what I recommend you try to do as much as you can first, and then you can call CMB head office. There's also, you know, an option for you to call D&H expert. So, you know, don't forget that. I mean, you can, the phone number is here when you're signing on. You'll see the phone number here. Quick links, 1-800-732-5638. There's also help options here. You can search. So we're not the only resource. You know, sometimes if you're trying to reach CMB head office, you know, you won't be able to all the time get us right away. So I recommend you try. It's their software, D&H expert. So if you have a problem with it, try their help buttons, give them a call. Sometimes it could be a real quick and fast solution. So between us and D&H expert, we're here to help you. Now back to our forms. We're almost finished here. So when you've used D&H expert, so you've got the closing form, you've got the worksheet, you're going to need a budget, and that helps us prove affordability. So when you know, when things go bad, customers, they start saying that, you know, it was never affordable, and you know, the mortgage wasn't suitable, fraud, he lied or she lied to me. Well, all these forms are here to protect you. Okay, so if you're doing this for the first time at CMB, it gets a lot easier. But the way we use this form, it's just a budget worksheet waiver. So you offer the budget to the customer. If they feel that the payment is affordable, they just waive right here. So they initial down here and sign down here. Okay, so they're waiving the opportunity to complete a budget worksheet, and they feel that they can meet the mortgage payments. Got it? So it's all here for your protection. So what else do we need? I know the forms are here. Risks of getting a mortgage. Now I know that some folks outside of Ontario, uh, they've never seen this form before, but this is good advice. It's from the Financial Services Commission of Ontario. Uh, this protects us because we're, you know, I know you're not, some of you folks aren't in Ontario, but we recommend you do provide this to the customers. Our copy will need customer initials. So you'll have to actually have each page of this initialed as well. And when you read it, it's really nice. It's good advice and information to the customers. And, you know, when customers complain and they've had an opportunity to initial documents like this, you'll be surprised at a tribunal how, you know, impressed those folks will be that you've gone to these lengths. It's all about, you know, it's not when a customer, it's not if a customer will complain, it's when. Okay, and these things happen all the time. We have about 3 or 4 cases every year where there's a customer complaint, and usually 99% of the time the customer either forgets or they're making up a little bit of information with the help of their lawyer. Okay, so that's when these forms really protect you. That's about it. Now, I'm just going to show you here. I'm going to send an agent here an email. I've done a sign-up package for this deal, Tingley. So I'm going to send Mr. Perry here an email with all the sign-up documents. So what's here is the CMB worksheet. I include one that's, you know, you have a personal one and one you've already used, but I put another copy here for you just as a reminder. There's the file closing form here. There's the budget worksheet. There's the risks for getting a mortgage. And we're going to add here the commitment, which I have on my hard drive. And I'm going to add those documents that I prepared. So that's going to include the disclosure, amortization. It's a lot of paperwork. It is. I mean, the customer, between the lawyer, the realtors, and the mortgage lenders and brokers they use, it's a lot of paperwork. I think it's got to be at least 200 or 300 pages. So we're no different. And it's here to protect you. So typically, this is what the package looks like. Let me try to add that again. Anyways, we're done. So those are the finished documents. That's where to find them. If you have any questions, please feel free to call Victor Simone at CMB head office, 416-410-3842. And, I have a saying, it's better to check to make sure you have all the proper documents for sign up rather than the mortgage closes and you have to go back and get things corrected. So your choice. Thank you very much and have a great day.